CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
The watchdog agency that oversees the RCMP is calling for major changes in the way the force handles workplace harassment complaints. The report logged more than 700 complaints over a 6-year period. It's recommending a more independent process and stricter timelines for responding to accusations and allegations. The RCMP commissioner says the force is taking the issue seriously.
It's a problem, but really they've found, as I have, and my instincts from the outset have been that we have a problem with how we manage power, also understood as perhaps bullying. So we've done a lot of things in this last year to put systems in place. The Commission has made some sound recommendations. I look forward to reporting on those recommendations, many of which we've already implemented.
A retired RCMP constable in Langford says she knows all about it, experiencing constant harassment during her decades-long career in the force. Krista Carley says she was taunted and was the target of sexual innuendo and practical jokes.
There was an internal investigation. A memo went out to the guys, so everybody clammed up and nobody talked about it. And I was so paranoid that I was going to be sexually assaulted at work that I said I need a transfer. I could not work in that environment. I would go to work feeling sick and absolutely paranoid that something was going to happen to me. So I took a transfer to another detachment. To me, it was so ironic because here I was coming to work with a gun on my hip and you know, I had the ability, if a situation arose, to shoot someone, to kill if I had to. But I couldn't even come to work and feel safe in a work environment, even with a gun and a bulletproof vest on. It was just, it psychologically just destroyed me.
Carley also says she was sexually assaulted by a senior officer just 2 years into her time in uniform, something she has buried away for years. After several more incidents throughout her career, she was eventually diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Carley says the stress eventually broke down her marriage and harmed her relationship with her children. Well, the province is taking steps to resolve a property tax dispute between BC Ferries and the municipalities where the terminals are located. BC's Assessment Authority was appealed. After an appeal by BC Ferries, BC's Assessment Authority reduced Horseshoe Bay's assessment from $47 million to just $20, that is. It allowed BC Ferries to save hundreds of thousands of dollars in property tax, but the District of West Vancouver was furious about the loss of revenue. And from North Saanich to Nanaimo and elsewhere, municipal leaders have been worried they might be next.
It was potentially a huge hit for us. Every $850,000 as a 1% tax increase. So we were concerned, but I do want to say I think the government did step in. I think they understood that there was an obvious inequity here, and I'm very pleased that the reassessment has been made, and Nanaimo will realize about 80% of the previous taxes. You know, it's under the circumstances, we find it quite acceptable.
The province now says the Assessment Authority will use a formula that will make sure there is a predictable value for all of BC Ferries terminals over the next 5-year period. She's just unpacked from her holiday, but Denise Henderson will have her suitcases out again soon. She's just a week away from surgery to remove a tumor at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. Last week, Denise got the surprise of a lifetime after the Children's Health Foundation nominated her to win a dream vacation from the reality TV show Operation Vacation. Denise is just back from her return flight from Hawaii. Had a great holiday, but she has 2 more big events before the surgery. Today, she and her mom took off for Pender Island, where they're being treated to a Valentine's Day package and pampering at the Poets Cove Resort. And then they're getting set for Sunday's variety show of Hearts Telethon.
I'm not so much afraid of the surgery or anything. I'm okay with it. It's more nerve-wracking for the results of the tumor. So that's nerve-wracking for me, but I'm glad it's coming up.
We're excited and nervous because, of course, this tumor, you know, the outcome could be that she'll have more pain in the end, or the tumor could grow back. So I think we just have to cross our fingers and hope for the best.
And you can catch Denise this weekend on Global as she hosts the Variety Club Telethon, co-hosts on Sunday afternoon. She's been part of the Show of Hearts since most of us can remember, when she was a little girl. Monday morning, Denise will fly to Minnesota for a series of appointments on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the surgery is scheduled for Thursday. The man known as the Blade Runner, South African Olympian Oscar Pistorius, has been charged with murder. The 26-year-old double amputee was arrested after his girlfriend was found dead inside his home in Pretoria, South Africa. The model had been shot 4 times. South African media reports say Pistorius may have mistaken the young woman for an intruder. That's what he may have told police, but investigators deny that. They also say it was not the first time they've been called to his home. Pistorius will remain in custody for a court appearance tomorrow. Police say they will oppose bail for the Olympian. In Southern California, police confirmed tonight that the charred remains found in a burned-out cabin in the mountains outside L.A. are indeed those of fugitive ex-cop Christopher Dorner. This morning, the husband and wife who were confronted by Dorner in their home spoke out. The couple say they walked in on the suspected cop killer and he had his gun drawn. Dorner had been using the home as a hideout, told the couple they had nothing to fear. He then bound the pair with zip ties and stuffed towels in their mouths and put pillowcases over their heads. He walked out, stole their car, and then ended up in a shootout with police in a cabin that eventually burned to the ground. Awards as well today from Vic PD to two women who received civic service awards after they jumped in to save a man's life, even though they didn't know him. On January 19th, Lorna Partridge was sitting in her car in Beacon Hill Park when something caught her eye, and it just didn't seem right. It was a man attempting to hang himself from a tree. She jumped out of her car, ran to save him, and called others for help. Janine Reitzma heard her screams and ran over. Both of the women called 911 and held the man and stayed with him until paramedics arrived.
I believe that we're here to help others, and I'm just so grateful that I was there to help him.
I didn't think twice about it. I just ran. Afterwards, my family told me I should have been a little bit more cautious, but at the time, I just had to get there. So
I was frustrated because I had been yelling for help for a while, and two people were only about 100 meters away and did not respond. But then fortunately I heard Janine yelling, where are you? And I was like, oh, thank you.
The suicidal man was taken to hospital for psychological treatment. The two women say they didn't think twice about helping him. Reitzma says the incident even prompted her to give up a day's work each week to volunteer at the Our Place shelter downtown. She says she wants to help prevent others from going down the same path as the man she helped to save that day. Victoria police say it's incredible that nobody was seriously hurt in a bizarre incident last night involving a suspected drunk driver in a residential area downtown. The 911 switchboard lit up just after 6 o'clock with reports of an erratic driver weaving all over the road at Empress Avenue and Vancouver Street and speeding through their neighborhood. Vic PD swarmed the area, used their cruisers to block the driver. One officer had to jump out of the way after almost being run down. The driver ended up smashing into a parked car and fled on foot. A person on a bicycle pursued the driver and was able to contain the suspect until officers were able to arrive and make an arrest. 44-year-old Cyril Rogers is facing 10 charges, including driving while impaired, dangerous operation of a motor vehicle, and flight from a peace officer. Vic PD says it wants to thank the people who got involved and all those who called 911. Surveillance video may offer a clue into the disappearance of a Vancouver woman in Los Angeles. She is 21-year-old Elisa Lam, who appears in this video, recorded in the elevator of a downtown Los Angeles hotel before she disappeared January 31st. She appears to be acting strangely, pressing buttons and then pressing herself against the elevator wall before looking out into the hallway. Police hope somebody recognizes her and will call 911. A Canadawide warrant has been issued for a man considered violent and dangerous and believed to be on Vancouver Island. His name is Benjamin Schooner. He's 23 years old and he's on parole after serving time for robbery and assaulting a police officer. He did not return to his community housing facility in Victoria yesterday. Schooner is a First Nations man, about 6 feet tall, about 210 pounds. He has distinct tattoos, including FTP on his left arm, WC on his right arm, and the word hustler tattooed on his right leg. If you see Schooner, you're not to approach him. Call police. A teenager who was missing in Nanaimo has now been found. 17-year-old Dina Root was located last night, and police say you helped bring her home after we showed you her picture last night on CTV News. The captain of the BC ferry that crashed and sank in 2006 says he was fired for raising safety concerns, not because of the sinking. He made the statements in a Vancouver courtroom today, testifying at the trial of the ship's navigation officer, Carl Lilgert. Lilgert is charged with criminal negligence causing death in the sinking of the Queen of the North. The two passengers who are missing and presumed drowned are thought to have gone down with the ship, but their bodies have never been recovered. Captain Colin Henthorne was asleep in his cabin when the vessel slammed into Gill Island and sank. Henthorne says during a BC Ferries inquiry, he expressed a series of safety concerns and was later fired over the phone when he says ferries officials became angry. Well, dozens of people gathered and they rallied and danced in Diana Krall Plaza in Nanaimo today to raise awareness of the need to end violence against women. A peaceful protest, part of a larger global movement called 1 Billion Rising. A United Nations report estimates that 1 in 3 women around the world will be beaten or raped in their lifetime. That's more than 1 billion women. Haven Society hosted today's event in Nanaimo. It offers services and support for women of all ages and says the number of victims keeps growing and the violence needs to stop.
We're done with listening to, what happens to women every day, feeling unsafe, experiencing violence and abuse. The wait list at Haven, the numbers keep growing and growing. 35,000 women and children accessed our services last year. So we're dealing with the problem, we're dealing with the issue, and as best we can, but we want it to end. We want to stop it. And we want to be part of a peaceful protest, a fun protest, a celebration of women and our bodies and men and children, and speak out. Like, we're just done being silent.
To learn more about the 1 Billion Rising movement or to watch live videos from around the world, you can go to onebillionrising.org. The Sound of Music is a lot sweeter for students at a South Nanaimo school after the band program received a flood of donations and a $10,000 boost. We first brought you the story of the Park Avenue Community School in November. You might recall that's when the music teacher stepped up to renew the band program after years of silence brought on by tight budgets. Former archaeologist turned band teacher Hugh Middleton was determined to raise the money needed and to find the instruments so the students could play. Well, since we brought you that story, the student and the school say they've been flooded with donations of instruments from the community. And now it's being awarded $10,000 by Music Counts Band and Grants.
We're going to try to buy maybe a tenor saxophone, certainly a bass clarinet. Instruments, French horn would be another one, that people just generally too expensive to have hanging around, but which will really fill out our band program and give different sounds, which this is all about sound for the children. So
I just switched to a saxophone. It's so much fun. Once you first try, it's like you can never let go of it. It's like, I don't know, it's just, I like jazz and all that. The music's pretty fun.
The school has just 11 days to spend the money, but the band kids say that's not going to be a problem. It'll go towards instruments, repairs, equipment, and music that the school and the students couldn't otherwise afford. The school says it hopes that this is the first of many schools in the district to benefit from similar grants and boost music programs in the community.